They always try to pit it as scientists versus religion. Religious and scientific leaders debate evolution. You know, when someone gives you that argument, you can remind them that all the major branches of science are founded by men who believed in the Bible and were creationists. All the great scientists of the past that founded all the major branches, physics, Newton, Faraday. I mean, we've all heard these names, right? Chemistry, Boyle, Dalton, Ramsey. I mean, even rocket science, Wernher von Braun was a creationist. And you know, another thing they do is whenever you read about something in the paper about evolution, they always use these words. Invariably, you'll find one of these words because they give the illusion of evolution. It's archaic. It's simple. It's primitive. How many times do you hear primitive? See that word written in an article. It's like advertising. They know the ploys to get people to believe something. One of the most famous illusions they use is they try to convince you that small-scale variation, which they have called microevolution, they wanted that word evolution in this description. They claim that that can lead to large-scale change, and we get out Lou's baloney detector. There's no evidence that a lizard can turn into a bird. A lizard stays a lizard. I wanted to show you this article. I know you can't read the text, but I actually came across this right before one of my talks. And what a good way to illustrate this point. Study cast doubt on creationism. Well, you know, they're always saying that evolution is a proven fact, but they're always saying things like this, it casts doubt. So apparently that must have been true to them before this. But anyways, we get out our baloney detector because they're talking about a St. Bernard dog and about how the changes occurred in the dog's head over the years, over 120 years. That's small-scale change. That's microevolution. That can't possibly be large-scale evolution. And then we can look at some of the straw man arguments I've mentioned. They say creationism is the belief that all living organisms were created according to Genesis in 6 days by intelligent design. Creationists don't believe that. We believe God created kinds of animals, and from those various kinds you can have variety. You can have all the different dog breeds that we see. So it's a straw man argument. And then finally they say creationism rejects scientific theories of natural selection. No, we don't. We came up with that idea. But they put these kind of arguments in these things that just aren't true. Of course, we do reject evolution. What about the fossil record? Fossils offer the most direct evidence that evolution takes place. This is from a high school textbook. Fossils, therefore, provide an actual record of Earth's past life forms. Change over time can be seen in the fossil record. Well, let's take a look at that. Here's the biggest part of this illusion that we really need to realize because it really shows what's going on here. The fossil record is 95% marine invertebrates, okay? Of the remaining 5%, it's mostly algae and plants, and then there's a tiny sliver down there that's vertebrates. So imagine you got two scientists that are invited to go into this building that has all these fossils, and one's a creationist and one's an evolutionist. They're really excited to find evidence for their theory, and the evolutionist is running all around the building. He can't find any evidence because the marine invertebrate record, it's full. We've got entirely formed life forms. We don't have pieces. We've cataloged tons of marine invertebrate life, but they can't find any evolution in there, so guess where they go? They find this little closet in the basement where they put the little pieces that some of the ones they can't figure out. That's where they go to create their evolution because they can turn a fragment into a fairy tale. So let me show you an example. This is in a college textbook. I got this at CU. And I was looking for any evidence, what evidence they use for evolution. They don't go to the marine invertebrate record, which is full of great examples of life, because they can't find any evolution. So they go to, for example, the whale. They have a serious problem because God put a mammal in the water. So wait a minute, how did life evolve? So apparently, Ed, how would a mammal evolve? I mean, you've got fish were supposed to turn into a mammal, right? So do you think God knew that, hey, this is going to really mess them up. I'm going to put a mammal back in the water. So now they got to come up with an idea. How did that happen? So they really wanted to find a way to prove that whales evolved. The evolutionary origin of the highly modified order of mammals is becoming increasingly well documented. That sounds powerful. The very next sentence, among the important recent discoveries is Pecacetus, known from a skull. Do you think we ought to get out our baloney detector? Known from a skull, and they come up with that drawing on the left? They're deceiving our kids. Here's all that they actually found, and they turned that into a missing link. because they can use their wild imaginations with these fragments of bones. This happened just recently, but this is a fossil actually discovered back in April 6, 2006. Made the headlines. Notice from New York Times, the long-sought missing link. Well, they tell us that they found all these missing links, but then they admit that they really haven't when they say things like this, but now they think they have one. And of course, they take a slam at creationists. Other scientists said that in addition to confirming elements of major transition in evolution, the fossils were a powerful rebuttal of religious creationists. It's called Tiktaalik. They think they found this link between this animal evolving from a fish and coming up out of the water onto the land. Here's the problem, and this is January 7th, so we're talking a month ago. Guess what they found? 4 feet in the past, trackways predate early body fossils. What is this saying? They found fossils of tetrapods, which are mammals that walk on the ground, four-legged, that are 10 million years older than the thing they were supposed to evolve from. Totally out of place. And now they call them late surviving relics rather than direct transitional forms. How long will this take to get out of our